Enfin! Who do we now have here in this car that could have known or could have been involved with the Armstrong household?
This is a pretty arduous scene because it was 8 minutes long.
Yeah.
And even though you didn't have a lot of coverage for an editor, it's a challenge of its own. It's a very...
Sometimes it was difficult because he gave you no coverage and you just had to make the cut work. Sometimes I snuck in little extra close-ups here and there.
Yeah.
Which he liked, he always went with it.
And you also had the challenge, which could have been disrupted, but it worked really well. There's flashbacks.
The idea of using the sort of page turn.
I did not have to ask Miss Debenham if she had ever lived in America. Because during her interrogation, she said...
I can always call my lawyers long distance.
An English woman who had never lived in America would have said, I can always make a trunk call to my solicitors.
We tried all sorts of different things. It's not like today with digital, you could try them there and then and look at them. We had to keep sending them off to the lab to try this, that, and the other. And I think we came up with quite good because it needed to be fast and just to jog the memory of who the person was.
I prefer to set aside the fact that he denied ever having spoken to Colonel Armstrong in India, and yet he remembered in great detail the decorations which Colonel Armstrong had won years earlier in France. I prefer to remember his views on the British jury system.
Trial by 12 good men and true is a sound system.
Sidney Lumet does not shoot a lot of film.
Yeah, he knows exactly what he wants.
Yeah, he camera cuts, basically.
Yeah.
He's
Well, the interesting thing, I think, about that film, in a way, was that to save money, because we had very expensive stars in it, was to shoot the train in one angle of all the different interrogation scenes of the different artists, with Albert Finney interrogating them, slightly differently, his performance was with the different artists, with the women and with the men and that sort of thing, which is quite subtle and quite interesting. But it meant that they did shot for about 3 or 4 weeks facing one way, with all the interrogation from the other actors and from Albert. And then they turned the train round over a weekend and shot the other way. And they had to remember exactly the way they played it. And sure, Albert walked in and out of shot once or twice, and so did 1 or 2 of the other actors, which they had to get perfect. But it was more the performances.
The energy.
Yes,
yeah.
The same energy and the way that Albert had to change his a little bit with the different people. And it saved, of course, the film millions of dollars.
You are a good cook, are you not?
All my ladies have said so.
Auf Wiedersehen.